Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a tier 10 game in my Yue Yang. Going over the matchmaking, have an enemy Midway, Missouri, Worcester, Moskva, Kronstadt, rounding out the CV and radar threats. Got a Shima, Fletcher, Terrible, and Lo Yang rounding out the destroyer threats. The purpose of the game is it's just another representation of how even with, you know, matchmaking that isn't really good, with some smart plays, good positioning, you can still really contribute to the victory for your team. Kind of my game plan here is I want to push up in here towards CCAP and basically see if I can basically follow up any DDs that get spotted by my friendly CV. Maybe be able to punish some of these guys. We've got a Seattle with radar. So there is a lot of radar here. There is a lot of firepower. We've got a Henry, a Montana, a Yagumo, myself. If we're able to catch these guys, we can really do a lot of damage to the enemy and potentially cripple them right out of the gate. Looks like they've got a Lo Yang and a Fletcher pushing up here, and I'm just kind of dancing around the Midway Plains right now. They just had barely missed me. Looks like they're coming back. I'm just being patient, holding my my AA, and just barely, eke by. And that's one of those things that if I would have, popped my AA early, that would have let these guys know, oh shit, we're in a position, we're gonna get radared by at least a Lo Yang, or a Yue Yang. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Lo Yang, Yue Yang. So this was, pretty fortuitous that, number one, I held my AA, so I wasn't spotted by the CV. Didn't basically come under any sort of extra, attack from the air. And again, just chunking down this this Fletcher, or good lord, I need to go to bed. The Lo Yang. And now here I'm just going to work on the Fletcher. And it looks like I've got an angle on the Fletcher where he's not really able to hide behind this island. If he's radar detected, I'm able to, drop shells in behind the island here and at least get some decent, chunks on the guy. So, hey. Come on, it's not a party time. It's almost bedtime. Sorry, number one still up and kicking. Yeah. So, just trying to throw some shots in there. Now, this is a dangerous situation. This Midway is really able to punish me. Fortunately, I still have speed boost active, and I'm just relying on this change of speed to throw off his aim. And you can see he just barely gets a piece of my stern, and that's one of those things that I think people underestimate how it is possible for you to throw off the enemy dive bombers or rocket planes with basically well-timed maneuvering. Right here, just trying to keep helping out with AA. Every little bit counts in this situation. He's trying to line me up again. I'm trying to turn broadside. For those that aren't aware, the Midway's drop reticle basically is long ways the way the plane's facing. So if you're angled, directly to, or worse, directly away, he's really able to, pretty much pound the entire length of your ship with AA or with bombs. So being able to cross his reticle theoretically should really decrease the amount of damage that you take from bombs, but it is an RNG thing. I am radar detected. This Fletcher was kind enough to let me know he was roughly in my radar range. And we're just gonna finish this guy off. And this is one of those things that I mean about being useful. You take a look at my positioning here, and their DDs, they pushed right into the cap. They committed to this island. Yeah, I've been hit by the CV a couple times, but you know what? Their Missouri, their Kronstadt, their Worcester, their Hindenburg had a shot at me at one point but didn't take it. Their team's not really able to shoot at me when I'm spotted, and it's this sort of positioning that I'm managing the risk to my ship to basically these DDs and the CV, and I'm parked right next to this Henry. So anytime this CV comes to strike me, while he's flying his planes over, that Henry AA's plus my AA plus this Yamato is all tearing this CV's planes apart, and that's really helping us, or helping me. And it's this sort of positioning that I'm talking about, that this is how you defeat CVs. You take these kinds of positions. Now, I see people bitch on the forums that, well, I don't want to have to camp right next to my team. There's no damage, blah blah blah. I just trashed a tier 8 DD, just finished off a tier 9 DD, and we're not even 6 minutes into the game. It's I defy these people tell me that I have not been useful for my team. Got more planes coming in, so again, just tucking in here. Now I'm starting to, now that the DDs are dead, I'm starting to actually focus some of the my AA. I probably should have been doing that a little bit earlier. Focusing the AA does help a little bit, particularly if you get some help with other ships, stuff like that. Their AA plus your AA, it all adds up and can make CVs cry big bloody tears. So we've eliminated the destroyer threat. I see that his torpedo plane's coming in, so I'm going to take this time to push in here and start to try to flip CCAP. I know that I'm going to get spotted here shortly. I'm popping speed boost. I want to try to make myself as hard a target as possible. Got these planes coming in. Popping my AA at the last second. And just trying to help my guys shoot down planes while I'm driving right through here. Throwing some, miscellaneous torps out there. Maybe I catch this Kronstadt. Maybe I get this Missouri napping. They're just, make-a-wish torpedoes, basically. Now, I've committed to this island position. The difference between now and when the enemy destroyers did it is I know where the radar is. I know the Kronstadt is beyond radar range. The Worcester was beyond radar range and going away. And the Missouri, I'm right on the edge of his radar, and I believe he popped radar already. So again, just trying to juke the enemy dive bombers. Again, you see he had, because I went forward real quick, he had to drop from much higher to even try to get a hit on me. He missed completely. Uh, Again, you see my positioning. I've got this Yamato, this Hindenburg right next to me. We're all together just shredding planes. And I'm just juking back here trying to get this cap. The enemy in midway gets spotted. And, you know, just going to try to help get some damage in on this guy. The quicker the midway goes down, the much easier it is for our team trying to win this game. Unfortunately, the midway is leaving my gun range. I don't want to poke out yet. I want to make sure that I get the cap. But at this point, you know, this midway is probably starting to get short on rocket planes and dive bombers just because he's had a couple squads that nearly got fully wiped. At least that I've seen, you know, somewhere else on the map, it could have, you know, added up even more. Still got my AA on, still trying to help my team with the torpedo planes. And at this point, I know that this game's a stomp. We basically broke the enemy team. They're only down to 4 ships left. We've got 2 caps to their none. And I'm basically just doing what I can just to get whatever sort of damage I've got. This was one of those, you know, low damage but high impact games. Hey, you're not a monkey. Calm down. So I had made sure that, you know, we were able to secure C-cap. But at this point, I am just going to push up here and, you know, maybe get lucky and, you know, torp this Missouri, get a little bit of damage, a second kill for the game. You know, whatever I can to improve my stats. I'm being impatient here because I know the game's winding down. So I just decided to take the hit, go on ahead, drop the torps, make sure that enough of them are going to do the job. And now just gonna start taking a drive. And you know, this is one of those things that I talked about in my Kagero video earlier. The relationship of CVs and destroyers, your different carry potential. And again, in this case, this CV was focusing me pretty heavily. I lost count how many times he was striking me, but you know, the end result was he would strike me, he'd do a little bit of damage, but in the meantime, that's damage that, you know, my CV is able to inflict much more if he's, you know, landing his drop. So in general, I'm comfortable with the CV trying to focus me because all I'm going to do is just focus on my positioning. Come on and, you know, try to kill me. You know, all that's going to happen is, you know, there's going to be a plane kill fiesta for allies around me. You know, I'm just going to have 2 or 3 ships around me plus my AA. You're not gonna be able to sit there and drop me all day. So you're gonna spend time, you know, flying planes back out across the map. I know people will say, well, they can cover the map in 30 seconds, and you know that may well be. But you know what? That 30 seconds adds up. And when my CV is, you know, going after battleships, going after cruisers, things like that, and, you know, getting multiple torpedo hits, multiple fires, floodings, things like that, uh, he's far more effective at winning the game rather than just trying to uh, harass a DD. I mean, if you catch a destroyer alone, uh, you know, killing that DD is something very influential, but it can very easily be a trap for carrier players trying to go after DD players that are positioned well. They're not an easy target. So here, this Shimakaze, he's smoked up on the midway. So, just to while we're reiterating this, I just want to reiterate, if you guys haven't heard Gaishu talk about target selection with carriers versus uh, with carriers, is it better to hit battleships or better to hit destroyers? Uh, his line of thinking, I tend to agree with that. It's better to hit the battleships as a CV player if you're able to do it without completely getting squads of planes wiped. Uh, Obviously, that's your first priority above all. You've got to kind of protect your hangar as long as you can in the game. Uh, I mean, take this game for example. I'm just gonna interrupt myself right there. I didn't do much damage, but you look at the point spread. Yes, I'm fourth on the team in XP, but there's not much of a point spread between fourth place. Um, and it's just that usefulness, getting in there, helping kill the destroyers, you know, providing radar where it was needed, making sure that we got a cap. It all adds up. You can easily have successful games and play with your team. And you know, some people might say, well, this you didn't do any damage, and yeah, I really didn't. I was busy killing destroyers and taking caps. This game, destroyer play is not always about big time damage, and that's something that you need to understand. Sometimes cap control. In this case, I did a lot of defending and took a third of our capture points. Um, and that this game, it was good enough for the win. Good enough for fourth place. But anyway, getting back to target selection, Gaishu talks about when he's actually going to target a destroyer, that destroyer has to be doing something to basically pull him off of the big damage dealing targets on the enemy ships, or the enemy fleet. That destroyer's got to be capturing a base, and your team really needs to stop their points, or needs to prevent a cap. At that point, he'll go strike that destroyer. If the destroyer is holding up multiple numbers of his team, and it's a close game, he'll go strike that destroyer to remove them from, basically get rid of the speed bump. Uh, but in all other situations, he preferred to hit the enemy battleships because they were one of the biggest damage dealing forces on the enemy team. And by basically removing those big guns from the fight, he felt that it made you far more influential in actually winning the game. And I tend to agree with that. Uh, so again, just another game discussing the relationship between CVs and DDs, and different ways that DDs can still influence the battle. So hope you guys enjoyed the game. Um, leave some comments below if you got any questions. I'd love to know what you guys think. If who knows, maybe I've been up too long and haven't gotten enough sleep, and I'm just thinking on a different alternate plane or something. Who knows? But hope you guys are having a good night, and I will talk to you later. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Apple.